And House Democrat leaders are calling for the Justice Department to launch a war crimes investigation into that second strike. Vice Chairman of the House Democratic Caucus, Congressman Ted Lieu, is here for more on that. Congressman Lieu, thank you for coming on. It's unlikely the Trump Justice Department will pursue this. So how do Democrats in Congress plan to investigate, and do you think your Republican colleagues will support that?
Thank you, Diane, for your question. I served as a JAG for 4 years on active duty, an additional 21 years in the reserves. And let me be very, very clear. Striking shipwreck survivors is a war crime, straight up. You cannot say that is not a war crime. And we need an investigation opened by Department of Justice. If the Trump administration does not open this investigation, a future administration will, because there is no statute of limitations for war crimes because of how heinous these actions are.
Republican Senator Tom Cotton claims the video shows survivors trying to salvage their suspected drug cargo and, quote, stay in the fight. I want to play you some of what he said.
The first strike, the second strike, and the third and the fourth strike on September 2nd were entirely lawful and needful, and they were exactly what we would expect our military commanders to do.
What's your response to that?
I trust the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Jim Himes, who said that video was one of the most troubling things he's ever seen. He describes two survivors who were just clinging to debris. They had no radios, no means of locomotion. It is ridiculous what Senator Cotton has said. This is a war crime. An investigation needs to be open. And as a matter of fact, they did another strike on another boat later where there were survivors. And guess what? They picked them up. Why did they do that? Because they realized the first strike, when they did this on this one boat, that they did something wrong. And so the second time they did it on another boat, they actually did pick up the survivors.
You haven't seen the video. I haven't seen the video. We have to go based on what the Democrats and Republicans who did see it are claiming. And Democrats and Republicans right now are claiming to see different things in the same video. So is this a gray area open to interpretation?
No. Senator Cotton is lying. The two folks had no radios, no means of communication, no locomotion. Their boat was destroyed. Senator Cotton is just not telling the truth.
A source tells a military lawyer, or tells us rather, that a military lawyer was giving Admiral Bradley legal advice throughout the September 2nd attack to ensure that any actions were lawful. You said it yourself, you served as a JAG lawyer in the Air Force. Do you have confidence in the military's lawyers to give sound legal advice in situations like this?
Absolutely not, because I read the classified legal memo that purportedly justifying the initial strikes on all of these boats in the first place. And I disagree with that memo. I can tell you that memo is not legally correct. That is my view of it. And I hope the administration will disclose that memo, as many of us are asking them to do.
President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have defended the strikes on suspected drug boats in general. They say they're saving hundreds of thousands of American lives and that previous tactics of arresting traffickers weren't working and the deadly strikes are needed as a deterrent. What's your response to that?
We are not at war with these drug smugglers. They're evil. They're awful. We should catch them. We should prosecute them. But under the laws and the Constitution, we cannot just strike people with our military. This is either violations of law of war or it's murder. The president needs authorization from Congress to engage in these warlike actions. And by the way, you've got grocery prices increasing, healthcare costs skyrocketing, and the president is now focused on attacking Venezuela. What is all that about? It is not the priority of what the American people want the president to be doing.
And I want to ask you about that question of priorities, because we keep hearing that Americans are really worried about affordability, some of the issues you just mentioned, and yet Democrats seemed focused on this boat strike right now. Do you think Democrats are focused on the right issues going into the midterms?
1,000%. Democrats are focused on the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. That's why we've been demanding that the tax credits for the ACA be extended. And this is the only month to do it before it expires. And we call on Republicans in the House, Republican leadership, to extend these tax credits. And what we do know is that the Trump administration is also engaging in a lot of other unlawful actions. We just have to also call that out so we can do both things at once.
All right, Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu, we appreciate your time today, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.